So this is like the first ever video I've ever done. I'm usually like a caption girl where I write quotes or things about my personal life regarding what we're going to talk about in writing. So in video, this sounds a little bit different, and I'm like, kind of nervous, but I feel like if I do it, then I feel much better, or we'll see how it goes. But for most of you, or if you don't know me personally, I'm Denise. I have been having this struggle for about 3 years, but prior to that, I want to just go back a little further. About 26 years ago, I was born with spina bifida level 4. So that has to do with I had surgery right when I was born on my back. So your spine has a certain amount of numbers, and I had surgery on level 4 of my back, and it's occulta. So I was one of the lucky babies who didn't end up in a wheelchair. I was using braces, which sort of what I'm about to show you of what I wear now, but the little version one is so I had a surgery when I was a baby, and it was, you know, a struggle in terms of like school and trying to be, doing certain things. Like I could do things what everybody else could do, but it's just with struggle and a little bit of more accommodation wise. Like I had to be careful in terms of running, that kind of thing. So I was a happy baby. I was like a happy baby. Like I was doing things, like one of the therapy things that I used to do, and I still do it now but differently, was dancing. I loved it. It was one of the best therapies that I found for myself because I didn't believe in being in the gym. And I used to be the one that judged people and be like, why do you go to the gym? Like, it's such a pain in the butt. And then I realized that dancing was a thing. And so I started being like the life of the party since I was 4. So yeah, like I was like, like a really happy kid. And yeah, I went through struggles like everybody else in elementary school and high school, and dealing with bullies and trying to find myself, first relationships and all that kind of stuff. And I went through stages where I was trying to like find myself in a way of accepting the fact that try not to look beside me and accepting myself for who I was. And I went through so many of those stages. I mean, being a teen wasn't hard, like wasn't easy. So, you know, going through that was hard for even for me, for my family. Not gonna go really in depth with that because it's not really the point of the story. But then when I turned 26, so I fallen many times when I was a kid, and I always been told like, you'll fell on your butt, or I remember once I fell down the stairs. It was just but like my butt going down, so it was like really not a big thing. And my legs really survived all of that, and I just really didn't think that it was a big thing of me falling, because I was very independent. Like I didn't really label myself as a person with a disability, and I never, it's hard to say. Like I was more like a coward in hiding myself and trying to be like everybody else and trying to fit in and trying to like accommodate with the person beside me. And I want to look like her. I want to look like her. And at the end of the day, like I kept thinking, I kept hiding what I was, but at the same time, why did I do that if it was so noticeable? Because I had a limp. So never was in a wheelchair. I only lived with a brace. I was running, I was dancing, I was doing everything else. I was going on the bus on my own. Never had a cane or anything like that until the year of 2017. So the week, a couple days before the accident, this was, I might laugh about it because now I think about it and I'm just thinking, how dumb does one thing make you, like one like dumb move changes your life. Which at the end of this video I will kind of send a message across to what I mean by that. Is So October 10th of 2017, I was cleaning my room, as you see here, and I have a bed where I'm actually beside it, and I was cleaning it. I was, it was very briefly about to tell you, but it was like, Chile was playing, and I was excited because I was going to go to the bar and go watch it, and I was going to put on the shirt, and I had called a friend, and I said, you know what, I'll be on my way soon. Next thing you know, like, I'm cleaning my room, and I had put the bed back, and I asked for help because my mom was here, and, she's like, yo, okay, let me know if you need anything. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I'm doing things on my own. I already cleaned it before. It's never been an issue. And I felt like there was a way of me pushing it back on my own, which I thought at the time it was like really good idea, but now I know, and now I'm terrified. So when it comes to cleaning my room, I'm like, Mom, can you help me? But, so I sat down literally on the floor trying to push it back, which I accomplished. I did it, great. By the time I got up, my knee cracked. So my knee basically went the other way. Let me tell you, I've never fractured anything. So the first initial thing was I laughed. I admit, I laughed a lot. And I'm like, what in the world just happened? And I'm like, what was that? And I thought that the brace had broken. And the first thing I did was, the weird me was basically, I'm like right over here. I'm like laying down and I'm, feeling what the heck is happening. I was like, what is this? And I get up and I go to that hallway to the bathroom. I'm like, okay, well, stupid idea number one. I go in and I feel it getting worse. And I'm like, all right, something happened. I think I broke it. It wasn't the brace that broke. It was my knee. I text my mom. I'm like, Mom, call an ambulance. I had an accident. What do you mean you had an accident? I'm downstairs in the kitchen. Like, how are you, hurt? And she's like, all right, I'm going to come upstairs. And my nephews were here. Like, they were super excited that the ambulance was coming because they've never seen one in person before. And so I'm on the bed and I'm trying to adjust the leg, and it didn't work. It was a lot of pain, a lot of swellingness. And for some reason, I actually thought that I had completely, broke it completely. And so I checked to see if I could. Then I had to wait. So I waited for the ambulance to come, and, they were kind of concerned as to why I was laughing. I was like, to be honest, I've never fractured anything, so I don't know how it feels. I've heard stories about, my friends playing soccer and doing all that kind of stuff, but, I've seen them recover within 6 weeks. Now I'm ready to do it. So they're like, okay, we'll go. I ended up going alone. So I went to the hospital, went to Humber River, and that's when things just went the other direction. So, like I said, I was born with spina bifida. Since I was a kid, I never questioned what it was. I never went through research or anything like that, unless it actually along the way, I had questions about it, but I would be like, oh, I have a book, I have a guideline, whatever. But I always accepted what I was, and I just didn't really care about the downfalls of anything until, I fell. So I was concerned, and I was scared crapless. And so I went to the ambulance, and I told them exactly, I had spina bifida, that the level that it was, never fractured it, I wore a brace, and that's about it. Go there, took a couple hours, here in Canada and Toronto, the hospitals, take their time and whatnot. So I'm crying, and I'm so much pain, it's swelling, and I just couldn't put it back to where it was, and it was just like, oh my God, this is really scary. So I go into the room, and right away they're like, you know what, thankfully it's not broken, but it's a fracture that can get easily fixed with therapy and all that kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, let's go through the process. Like I said, I have so many friends that have, soccer and have done this before. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to call one of my friends, and all of them gave me advice. You need to rest. You need to keep your feet up. You're going to be okay. Don't worry about it. All right, cool. But in the hospital, like, I kept repeating, I really hope you know that I have spina bifida. I'm like, why? Something doesn't feel right. For like one little minute, I just kept feeling like they're not hearing me. And I was like really concerned about that, because I was like, I told you guys repeatedly that I had spina bifida. So I guess, okay, you know what? I will go through the process and do physio. All right, fine. So I went and did physio like I was supposed to. You know, I did my homework. It was like not a big thing. I laugh about it because it was so stupid. One little small decision in your life has to, like, you have to be careful with the decisions that you make, because I could have changed so much about it. And at the end of the day, I look back and I'm like, you know what? Stop looking back, look forward. Which is what I do. Like, I try, have my days, whatever and whatnot. But let's go back to the story. So I went in, like, you know, I did my thing, and I did my physio. And I come home, I think it was like 4 weeks after. Sorry, it's really hot. Yeah, it's getting hot. It's like cold and hot these days. I don't understand. Anyways, so I went in, and you know, I came home one time, and, you know, my dad's usually like a blunt guy. Like, if you've met him, he's, you know, he doesn't have any filter. Like, he's usually straight up when he sees something wrong, and I'm like, okay. And I came home, and he literally looked at me. He's like, I've been talking to your mom for a couple times, and I've noticed that you're the way that you walk. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I know. And at the time, I was like, I never really paid attention to the way I walked before, because to me, it felt right. But when he said something, I was like, okay, so what do you see? And he's like, never in 26 years, I was 26 at the time, I'm 28 now, never have I seen you walk as bad as you do now. Is this something that you have to, you know, do research on and see if you're doing the right thing and whatnot? I just feel like something's up. I'm like, I took that to heart. I'm like, my dad's usually like the quiet guy, but when he has something to say, he has something to say. So, sorry if I sound nervous, because I never do videos, but anyway. So I did, and I called Holland Bloorview, which is a second home to me. I hope I don't cry in this part, because it's like they're so amazing at what they do. They've supported the majority of my years being alive, because thanks to them, I've, you know, I did speech therapy, I did physio with them. I grew in terms of being independent because of them, and, you know, relationship with my mom, which wasn't the best, and at the time, because we were always bumping heads, we were always fighting, and it's like, mom, let me do this, and then they had the protection of a parent. So at the same time, it was really, really hard to kind of get there. Then, you know, during the years, like I said, I never questioned it, so I never really went back to the hospital. I just for orthopedics, so I just for my brace. That's the only reason why I ever went back after 18. And I called them. I said, you know what? Can I have a consult? There's something wrong with the brace. Assuming it was the brace that was making me like walk the way I was walking. And I went in, and the first thing I got from so many of them that have known me for 26 or 20 plus years was, I've never seen you like walk the way you were walking ever. You were so independent, and now I feel like you're falling apart. Is like, what happened at the hospital? So I told them numerous of times that I did tell the doctor that I had spina bifida, but not once did he take it to initiative. So I was really pissed off about that. And I was like, a part of me took it with me, and I made sure that it didn't affect me, because I was trying to go move forward instead of backwards. So, you know, I said, okay, what do we do? Like, what can I do to make this better? And they're like, my only option is to have a knee brace. So what I'm about to show you is, maybe you've seen it in my pictures, but I can personally show you right now what I use, or what I've been using since that time. So just give me 1 second. So this is a knee brace. So from here to here is what I was using all my entire life. And they added this part. So this is what was me, was like keeping my knee intact. And when I saw it, when I saw it being made, because, you know, they do it with the casting first and like fix it and to make it to like the size of your leg and all that kind of, you know, the size and everything like that. I was like, oh, this can't be that bad. Like, I already used a brace, it's fine. So the brace is getting done, and this is when my life a little bit changed in a way, because I felt like if I didn't care about before, how am I gonna go and care now in the way that I had to show it? So when I came in, I went with someone, and so they're making the brace. I went in for the fitting, and I was like, oh my God, this is huge. Like, it was popping everywhere. I was like, I don't have jeans, I don't have tights, I don't have wide pants to fit with that. Is this the part where I show myself as I am, and have to adapt to it? You know, it was hard. It was very terrifying for me. I just really didn't think that I could have done it. So it was hard. I cried. I remember when I was doing the casting, I felt like I was suffocating. When I mean I was suffocating, I was to the point that I couldn't breathe. And I'm like, take this off. I can't breathe. What am I doing? And I was so, like, depressed because of it. And I was thinking, how can I do this? How? Like, you know, I was just on the verge of accepting myself and, you know, accepting who I was, and, you know, not giving a crap about what people were thinking or what people were saying about me, and, you know, judging me in the streets or whatever. So how can I do that with showing a brace? Because the only way to put it on with clothes was tights, like really, 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 really tight tights. And I had to adjust to it, you know, style it, put on long sweaters, and, you know, try to figure it out. But at the same time, I'm thinking, was this who I was before, where I was cowardly enough to hide something that was noticeable? So that's when I changed my perspective of a lot of things. Like, you know, I adjust to it in terms of, you know, crying a lot. I admit, I fell apart many, many times, but thankful to many of my friends who are probably going to see this, I pushed forward to getting the support of cousins, aunts, my parents, you know, my sisters. And if it wasn't for them, I think I probably would have fallen apart. It was a point in my life where I was afraid to leave the house, but I didn't anyway. And I did get comments. Like, I remember going to walk down the street to go do my nails, because I thought maybe doing something to myself is probably going to make me feel better. And people were staring, and I was terrified. I felt like I wanted to just come home. I couldn't breathe. I was upset, and I just couldn't deal with it. And then at the time, my parents, you know, weren't here, but I fought with it. I did it with my friends who came to see me every single day. You know, help with groceries, help with leaving the house, and, you know, go to my appointments and making sure that I was okay, and, like, not falling in the snow outside. And, you know, all those those ways of adapting to that was terrifying, but I did it. And, you know, things were great. And just give me one moment, I'm gonna close the door. This is the part where you don't edit things. It happens. Anyways, so, you know, it was a terrifying moment, because, you know, you learn back and you're just like, oh my God, I was on the verge of accepting myself and accepting who I was. And then to be given that was just, to me, it was so terrifying. Like, I was like, how am I going to do this? And how am I going to, you know, I felt like it was pushing me back, and I couldn't walk. You know, it was hard to really walk with it, because I had to learn balance, you know, learn not to fall, and, like, keep it straight the whole time. And so we did some research, and they're like, you know, we need to find you with an actual orthopedic surgeon to see what's really going on in there. And they found my meniscus completely destroyed. So I wish that he had social media for me to thank him, but Dr. Wood was the best. He was part of St. Joseph's, so thankfully they transferred me to another hospital because, you know, Humber River did a horrible job. So I finally found Dr. Wood at St. Joe's. He believed me hand on hand about everything I was feeling, and he put me together and said, you know what, we're going to do some tests, we're going to do some body exam, we're going to need to figure out what's happening with your body and what's happening with your knee, because, you know, now I get it that you have spina bifida and it takes so much to recover for that. I said, all right, cool, like, we'll do that. I did it. It was fine until the day that he calls me. He's like, I found the results. Can you come to the office? I'm like, all right, cool. I went to the office, and then my meniscus was completely destroyed. Oddly enough, you know, I was kind of losing a little bit close to my meniscus of my knee, but he said it wasn't nothing concerned in terms of proceeding with a procedure to get it done. I'm like, all right. So he gave me a date, July 25th, and it took a long time. I'm not gonna lie, I was frustrated, but at the point, it got done fine. So July 25th, 2018, I had my surgery, and it was, again, terrifying because I was like, oh my God, either I can lose my leg or I can recover, you know, right again, like waiting the 6 weeks, waiting, you know, be patient and do things the right way. And I was like, I'm not gonna mess up. Again, things started happening. I went into physiotherapy. I felt good. I even asked my friends who went to go see me, and thanks to them, they supported me hands on hand, and, you know, who witnessed the times that I walked, witnessed the times that I was wearing my brace again, and the one that was the low one, so this one. And I was happy. I was like, wow, I feel like so much like myself again, and wow, like I was like, wow, this actually feels really great. And I kept pushing and came home, did my exercises. Like, again, you can go through my social media and you will see the progress that I went through. Then again, I think it was the 20th of September, literally last year, we were celebrating, you know, Chile's independence. We had a party at my house. You know, I didn't dance or anything like that because I was taking it slow or anything like that. And then the next day, I felt the same pain, but worse than when I fell. I'm like, what is happening? Whoa. Like, maybe I'm a party hard kind of thing? Like, or did my body, you know, fight with me that day? And, you know, it's like, hey, you know what? You didn't dance, but I'm going to give you a hard time the next day. Like, it literally felt like that. Like, I had danced the entire time, but I didn't. And I kept an eye on it. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I need to just relax. Maybe because, you know, family were here and, you know, I'm overwhelmed. Fine. And I'm thinking about that time. It was freaking terrible. And so I took an eye on it for a little bit. Came on like a Tuesday. This happened on the weekend, and on the Tuesday, I was like, Mom, cannot do it anymore. What is happening? I cannot even go down the stairs. Like, I lived on my, I'm sorry, pardon my language, but I lived on my ass for almost a year. Literally. Not once did I put it on the floor. Going down the stairs was just bump on the butt, like on my butt, going down the stairs. And I was like, feels exactly like October 10th, 2017. Same feeling, but worse. I was like, wow. What am I gonna do? So I went in. He's like, let me do a body exam. Let's see what's happening. Okay, cool. I went in, another fracture. This is where it starts to get to the point of the video that I made, which is why I started kind of telling my story more profoundly, was because when I found out I had this fracture, it was beyond, I felt like I was reliving it again on October 10th. Why? Because like I said, it happened September 20th. Then when I had the body exam done, by the time that I got the results, it was close to October. And I felt like my whole life like start falling apart. I cried, screamed so negatively. I felt like my life was done, per se, and I just couldn't. I look back at it and I'm thinking, all the feels of so many things happening again. And I think, what did I do wrong? And it upsets me because I did everything the right way. I did it the way I was supposed to, and I paid attention to everything that I was supposed to do, and I was like, why is there another fracture? Like, it was even much worse. So when I went in and I did they finally put me in a cast, but the one thing that was concerning them was because the cast so I did it for about 3-4 weeks, the cast, because with spina bifida sometimes your skin get really sensitive and they don't recommend to have a cast for that long. So when they did the cast, I was like, okay, maybe it's gonna work. We'll figure out the whole thing, but we'll get it. We'll fight together. And my parents were super supportive of it, and my friends too. And they were like always, sending me messages and trying to make me feel better and saying that, you can do this. You've done it already. Like, you're fine. You're great. Then prior to that, so I did the cast. I went in, do another body exam. There's so many exams that were giving it to me. And he sees that the fracture is not going back home, per se, back to where it's supposed to. And the reason why was because there's something small. So it was like a black dot. But we need to evaluate it and do it again. I'm like, okay, let's do a biopsy. So he thought it was cancer. I probably thought it was cancer because I was like, I see something growing that wasn't there before. What is this and why is it there? And I did the biopsy again. My parents were back home, and I went through the processes again together. So I had the cast all of December, and then I did it in January. So that's when I found out. And he's like, do the exam, we'll see what it is, and we'll figure out from there. Okay, so I went in and did the exam, and he called me like I think 3 weeks after that, because they have to wait so long for exam to come in. And he said the reason why, he's like, no, you do not have cancer. So I was super excited about that, and I was like a big, like a bulb in my throat that went out, and I was just like, I can breathe, because I felt like I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating well. And my friends was supporting me and trying to keep it together. They're like, no, we're still gonna love you, we're still gonna be there for you. And I felt that, and at the same time, I'm like, it's not easy. You guys can give me that advice, but it's not easy, having to do a biopsy, because it's terrifying. It's not something that you want at 28, and I just couldn't take it. So I did it, and he's like, you don't have cancer, but unfortunately you're losing 85% of your leg. What? Explain to me, what does that mean? I don't know what that means. I don't know. He goes, you're losing it. It's turning into charcoal. And by the minute, you're losing your leg. So he showed me the exams, and you could see that it was turning colors in terms of going back to black. And it's like the Pac-Man. So like, that was what's gone, and then you could see the face and whatever. So the back of my knee, when you close it, there's nothing there to protect it. And so the fracture's still hanging out. It hurts once in a while. And I was like, I can't believe that this is happening. So what are my options? He goes, my personal advice, he's like, stay away from the brace. It's giving too much damage. You know, stay off of it for a little bit. So the point of me feeling upset about that was because living in the wheelchair since the beginning was not easy. There was many times where even before I got the knee brace, I was in the wheelchair, and living in a wheelchair was new and terrifying in terms of not having control of the many things that you could do before. And so I did it. You know, I stayed off of it, and I tried, and I was home, and, you know, trying to adapt to my life here and being at home, and being at a home where there's so many stairs, and, you know, you don't have your little mini apartment where you can just walk in and walk to your bed, and that was it. But being in the wheelchair was probably what changed me, because I noticed that I was talking about myself more, and I was talking about what spina bifida was and what it is to have a disability, something I don't do. And, you know, before I was like, oh yeah, I have spina bifida, but that was it. But I was never talking about it. So it was different. So I, you know, opened up, and, you know, when being with the brace was destroying it. So I was thinking to myself, was I wearing a brace, not the knee one, but the other one? Was I wearing something that was damaging my body for years and I didn't even know? So hearing that, or hearing it from my own voice, I broke. Again, I broke apart, and I just didn't know where my life was headed, and I wasn't working, and I wasn't, you know, I finished school in 2016, thankfully, like, you know, I did all those things, and then, you know, trying to find work, and then trying to move, and then I couldn't do it because my health was just playing a roller coaster game with me, and it was hard. So, you know, he told me to lay off of it, and it was hard because I was home and I was doing anything and I was bored, and I was like sort of feeling sorry for myself a little bit, and then I stopped. I stopped out of it, and I just like did my own thing, and I did it with my I went out with my family. Friends were coming over. I would go out with them and do my thing and try to be myself again. But it was hard. It was hard because a part of the times that I was with my friend or friends, I would think sometimes that they were doing it because they felt sorry for me, which, if you're hearing this and you're my friend, I'm so sorry, but those are the type of things that happened. And it's like, oh, you're not there, you know, you're there because I don't know, it was just a hard time. It was a stupid me, and I know that, and I know that I shouldn't have done that, and I know I shouldn't have thought about it. But those are the type of things that when you fall apart, those are the type of things that your mind messes up with. Like, you start saying things to yourself that you don't mean, and, you know, that you think that you're not on earth right now, and you're just thinking a bunch of stupid negative stuff. So, you know, I finally went back, and he said, you know what, you could slowly start wearing the brace, and we'll see from there, which is the times where, you know, some of you did see me in public and I was wearing the brace, and even until now. But little did I know that it was damaging me even more. So starting, I think it was in July, I went in, and they told me that, you know, you could do another procedure and you could do another cleaning, but it would only give you 20% back. We can't do a knee replacement because it could damage more than what it is, and the fact that you're only 28, it's just a really bad idea. And I was like, you know what, screw everybody, screw this, I am gonna live my life the way it feels comfortable for me, which was choosing to be in the wheelchair. Life in a wheelchair. It's rough. It's not easy. I have friends that are in it, which I love them so much, and I hope you're hearing this and say that you guys are the strongest people in the world. And because of the friends that I have now, which have disabilities of their own. You guys pushed me up. You guys brought me back up on my worst times where I was saying things to myself when I shouldn't have said it. And I look at your lives and I'm thinking, wow, like I'm complaining about my life, but look at the person beside me and like how much struggle they're going through. Like I should keep it together and try to, work around it and adapt to it because, nothing's impossible. So, it's not something that makes me mad. It's more sad because you live with something for so many years and then you have to let go of it and say bye. And, there is times where, he's like once in a while you can use it. But I recommend that you don't. So I will be getting a permanent one for a wheelchair for myself. In my room, or what I'm sitting on is a chair. So it's chairs with wheels. And that's the only way that I can adapt inside my room. I have a wheelchair downstairs and I have a wheelchair outside. So those are the ways that I'm doing now. If I wear the brace, it's because it's a good day. But technically, I'm destroying myself. And it sucks. And I don't want to accept that. But it's time to. It's time to say goodbye to the person that I was brought to earth. And say hello to the new adapted person who, finally has the job of my dreams. I'm a program support assistant at Blurview, and finally it's even the dream that I had of working was at Blurview because of the things that they've done to me. And I always told myself I'm gonna give back to them like the way they gave back to me. And I'm that dream's gonna stay until it happens. And it happened in the summer, and I'm so grateful beyond words for them to take me in and support me in every way and not be judged and looked at differently. And they accommodate with you, and it's like, hey, you need something, or like, what chair works better for you so you can work your hours and do whatever you have to do. And then on the other side is I do volunteer, and I'm a youth mentor, so I'm also with the youth advisory, at Blurview, which is where I met my friends. And being a mentor was things I've heard from many people. I listened to you, the person who's hearing this, or if you think that you've told me that once where it's like, hey, I see you doing this, I'm doing it, and I'm so happy and so grateful that I'm doing it. I've changed many kids' lives in the summer where I was part of, the independence program, and I got so many feedback from them, and they even taught me things where it's like, why am I going to be mad at something that's just temporary? When I heard that, I felt that, I was like, dude, like, these kids are so smart. Like, the generation now is like, get ready, guys, because the generation now, for the people who have disabilities, they have a message for life and about life. And I'm so happy that's happening because at the time it wasn't a thing and it was not talked about so much, and now it is. And I'm so happy that I'm hearing it, and I'm hearing so many stories, so many people that have their story and have their thing about what they've been through in life and stuff like that. So yeah, like, if I would put my 3 years in a nutshell, it was challenging. It was a huge transition, actually, that's the right word. Transition, inspiring, and I think strength. It took a lot of strength in adapting to the life that I have now, which I slowly do. I'm not gonna say I'm happy every single day. I have my days where it's like I wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like being on the wheelchair today, but unfortunately that's what I gotta do. And waking up and then feeling pain, because there's gonna be days where I feel pain, which I do majority of the week, but I hide it because better to fight it than complain, you know. I know sometimes, you know, that doesn't sound right, but to me, it's like I'd rather fight it than, you know, feel sorry for myself and not get out of bed. But when there's times where I can't get out of bed, I can't, there's no explanation, there's no if, ands, or buts. It's like, Mom, no, I cannot leave the bed. I cannot even feel like, you know, weekends ago, I remember we had an event in my house and I was wearing the brace and I was fine. And, you know, my knee wasn't hurting, but my arthritis was just, I couldn't put on this ring. And I had this ring for years and it just couldn't fit in my middle finger. And it was just so bad. And my body was hurting. My you know, my back and my neck was just stiff, and I'm thinking, wow, this is how it feels to have a bad day and have like a day where you don't want to get up, and like, holy crap, like it just blows your mind, and then just like your mood just goes down. But yeah, so end of my journey is, this is who I am. This is who I've become prior to 3 years, to a person who cowardly never spoke about herself, to a person who is moving forward and changing the life or the next generation, and talking about just about people with spina bifida, being open about any questions that people have about me. And, you know, people think that, oh, but, you know, doesn't it bug you that people ask you what's wrong and like what happened? No. Why is it gonna bug me if this is what you noticed and this is what you see? Like, I go to the mall and so many people approach me and be like, oh my God, you're always smiling and you're on that. It's like, you're so positive. And I'm like, to be honest, it took me everything that I had in my heart to be the person that I am now. No, I'm not fully happy. No, I'm not fully healed. But it's gonna happen with time. It's gonna take some adapting to do, and I have so much to grow from this. And I tell the people that are going through something that, you know, when the saying that they say is like, check up on your happy people, because you never know what they're going through. And I'm talking to you, is, you know, don't give up. If, you know, you feel like you want to reach out to me or anything like that and say, hey, I'm having a bad day, you want to talk, I'm that person who would say yes. What's up? What do you want to talk about? Because that's just who I am. And I'm just telling you, just don't give up. I'm not going to belittle people because I hate doing that. One of the things I'm going to tell you guys is, please don't belittle people for what they go through. Don't say, you know, you're better than this, or, you know, snap out of it, or get over it. Get over it. I hate that. I really, really, really do. And I think all my friends know that. I do not like it when someone does that. I do not like someone who goes in right away and tells me, get over it. Because I will get over it when I feel like I'm ready to. And if someone comes to me with a problem, you know, maybe it's about a boy, or a girl, or, you know, someone that, you know, pissed them off across the street, I don't care what it is. You're the one who's frustrated. You're the one who's upset. You're the one who's feeling sad about what happened. Why am I the one to tell you, get over it? I usually say, okay, what can you do better next time for it to happen? So for it to not to happen again. Those type of things that I usually say. And, you know, I may be going through my own things, and I always lose track of, you know, seeing people or keeping up on track and checking up on people. I'm sorry, and personally, I'm gonna tell you that I just suck at it. I do. But I don't forget people. I really don't, because I'm a sneaker. Like, I check up on my friends and what, you know, what they're posting on Instagram, or what are they putting on WhatsApp, or what are they putting on Facebook. I check up on you. Like, I know that you're, you know, I just suck at personally saying, hey, what's up? A lot of people know this. And a lot of people are going to be like, I know, you're a horrible friend. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I'm not thinking about you. It doesn't mean that, you know, that I'm not thankful for you guys being there for me. Because each and every one, I'm not going to name, because there's so many people that have accompanied me through this journey, and that still love me and still support me and still you know, look at me and say you're worthy, which a lot of you do, is I'm so thankful for you, and I love you guys so much. And my cousins, or cousin, who worked her ass off to be with me, you know, coming from far, aunts, so many check-ins, people from back home, you know, my friend Daniel supporting me so many things. He's the only friend that I could probably think of, and Gonzalo, like, love you guys. And because of you guys, I think that's when I didn't fall apart. If I was alone and I didn't have any friends, or I was going through this alone, I think I probably would have given up, and I wouldn't be telling you this story and telling you that, you know, I'm not over it, but I'm recovering. I'm recovering, and I'm healing, and I'm okay, and I'm loving what I'm doing. My job is amazing, and I have nephews and nieces I call my kids, and, you know, I'm happy with who I am. Yeah, like, I've been through my ups and downs where it's like, you know, screw everybody kind of thing, but at the end of the day, it's for me to, you know, to let it out and then say, you know what, nah, I shouldn't have said that. You know, today's a good day, or, you know, say positive things and that kind of stuff. But, you know, just don't give up. Just don't give up. Go with your instincts. If something doesn't feel right, don't continue. Move on. Try other things. Speak up when something's wrong. Speak up when something's fishy. You know, I wish I could have done that, because if it wasn't for me being too nice, I think things would have gotten worse in Humber River. But unfortunately, you know, the more I look back at it, it's like, you know, why do you celebrate these anniversaries? And I'm like, it's not so much looking at the tragic, it's more of how much did I grow from that year? So this is the 3rd year coming up. I know I'm doing this a little early, but I felt like I really had a lot to say and share with you guys, because I get questions and I get concerns. It's like, oh, but you're 1 minute you're walking, 1 minute you're on the wheelchair. Now you guys know. Until it's final, when I get the wheelchair and everything's fine, then, you know, you'll be seeing me in the wheelchair, and it's gonna be rough and it's gonna be hard, but you know what? Denise's not gonna change. I'm gonna be the same person I am every single day, positive, happy, motivated to pushing people forward. And if I have my bad days, sorry, I'm human. That's who I am. If I'm negative, or I'm being an idiot on Instagram or something like that, I'm just having a moment. But we all do that. So, thing is this is who I am. This is my story. Now you guys have a brief guideline of what happened and why I am now, and the way that you see me in the streets, or see me in a club, or see me down the street. It's like, hey, I saw you in the wheelchair, but hey, you were walking the other day. There's your story. There's the question I get every single day, and this is exactly what happened, and this is why I ended up how I am. Well, do I wish I would have changed it? Yeah. Do I plan on keep going back? No. Like, goal for the upcoming year? Move forward. Chase your dreams, be happy, and do what you gotta do. So, thank you so much. By the way, my first video I've never filmed in my entire life, and I probably look like an idiot, but I'm sorry. And I probably like have those little moments where you couldn't hear me. I'm sorry. But yeah, oddly enough, I fought through this whole video, so it's really good that I actually did that, because I thought I was gonna cry like a little baby, like I am. But no, I put it together, and I'm happy and I'm proud. But yeah, have an amazing week, guys. Keep up. You're doing amazing, either if you're a mom or a single mom, or struggling with something, or have a disability and you feel like you can't keep going. If you're struggling with school, if you're struggling with work or something in your life, keep moving forward. You're doing amazing. You're doing what you can, because if you wake up, that's a that to me is like a clue that you're doing a good job, and you're not giving up, and you're keep moving forward, and you keep wanting to do better. So much love. I give you guys a big hug from here to where you are. Thank you for listening, because it takes a lot for someone to listen to my story. And this is my story. This is who I am. So until next time, bye.